Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm a little tired today. You aren't. You can always tell. It's when Stacy posts a video first thing in the morning, it means that she's feeling great.
I slept. So, that makes a big difference. But we're back in the city. We were in the city. We're in the forest. We're in the city. We're kind of back and forth these days.
Yeah.
But we're in the midst of our summit.
We are.
So today is day 3. Day 1 and 2 went off without a hitch.
Kind of.
Well, from the speaker's perspective, it went off without a hitch.
From all of our participants,
no problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we are on day 3. Day 1 and 2, like I said, already done, which is great. There is a lot of feedback. Like, people are watching, they're learning, they're experiencing, which was the whole point.
Right.
So very excited.
Yeah.
And then we still have Thursday and Friday left.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about it a little bit just because, we alluded to it in the last couple of weeks, but it's a lot of work putting on a summit. And so we said to everyone before, it's not for the faint of heart. Don't do it. You have to be okay to stay up late, to change your plans when, videos don't show up or PDFs from speakers or there might be some minor thing you forgot to connect, things like that. But like it's literally for the days that you're doing it, and ours is 5 days, you have to be, it's kind of like being on call.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So
and I don't think people understand how much work actually goes into it. So like I said, late nights, we're here, literally 2 nights in a row, speakers sending in things really, really late. So if you are a speaker on a summit, and if you are, going to participate in any sort of online where you have to submit either a PDF or a link or a video or whatever the case may be, do it early, please, because there's a lot that you can get out of it.
Yeah.
We're really taking a lot of time to promote the speakers. We've done a lot of ads, a lot of people who are participating. And, that last minute puts a lot of stress on the people who are running the summit.
Yeah.
So it's, like I said, our summit's a little bit different because typically a lot of online summits, what they do is they schedule an interview. So the speaker doesn't have to worry about it. They show up, they do their time, and they leave. But we wanted to do it both from just an experience perspective, but also give them an opportunity, right? To give them out to do the video their way.
Showcase themselves.
In whatever way made sense for them, their business, whatever the case may be. And so just, be prepared and make sure that if you commit.
Yeah.
Into a time.
And it's not so, just so everyone knows, because some of our speakers are watching, we are not calling you out because there's not one person. There's many, many people that have,
many.
And there's lots of different reasons. Some people have technical issues and some people have family issues and things come up, and we get all that. So our advice to you is to, if you have the luxury, not anyone that commits last minute, but if you have the luxury of knowing a month in advance, then we're suggesting, prepare yourself, get your stuff done a month in advance, because things do happen. They do occur, right? We had a speaker that at the very last minute dropped out on us.
Yeah. Family emergency.
And I have to say, it's not cool, right?
Well, because things, not only can things happen. So she did have to pull out because of a family emergency.
Right.
And, absolutely things happen, but you also have to prepare for that in your own life, right? Like, things do come up last minute, 110%. There was one speaker that weather got in her way.
Yeah.
Now she was a last minute a submission, so I'll give her a little bit.
Yeah, it was great.
Anyway, and her video was amazing.
Yeah, but she worked, that's what, all credit to her.
Yeah.
Because you work through it and you figure out ways to do it. We do the same thing. Like, we're filming, and sometimes, I was filming and we were in the midst of a mosquito meltdown because they were on my face, and I just sat there very calmly, but we had to adjust what we were doing because you just have to get it done.
And if you're prepared, again, prepare for things. Like, as an example, if you're going somewhere and it's going to take you 2 hours to get there, you plan ahead. You think traffic, what if if I need to be there at a certain time?
Yeah.
So if you have the date and be prepared especially for things in your own life. But I also want to give complete credit to the opposite end of the spectrum,
right?
Which were, amazing speakers who submitted early, apologized if they were going to be like a couple of hours late the next day, which was 2 weeks ago. So we sort of gave them a deadline quite early on. You know, is it still okay to, you know, change one thing on my link that I gave you or something like that? Like really, really, really on top of it.
Yeah.
So I think we had sort of the two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. But we'll also, I mean, you know, we're thanking all of our speakers for participating, even the ones that, you know, got it late.
Amazing.
Remember, they probably stayed up for the last 3 or 4 nights in a row trying to get it done. And
I appreciate that.
And for a lot of speakers, you know, maybe it was the first time they had showcased themselves this way. So, you know, it's a learning experience for everyone, but you're prepared. So next time around, you know, you're like, okay, I got this. I know exactly how much time it's going to take me. So, you know, we're very focused with our business clients to ensure that they understand that. And that's why they work with us, because we help them, you know, get things done when they need it, and to make sure that there's no issues that come on the wayside. I mean, we're the same. We have obviously support, and our assistant, our she's not an assistant,
our social media
graphic guru.
Yeah.
She was doing stuff for us last night at like 9:00 at night, because we didn't ask her. Here's the thing: when you have somebody good working for you, we didn't ask. She just saw it and said, "Look, can I change this for you, make it look better?"
It was a good idea.
Yeah, I love when she says that. It was a good idea. Unlike when she looked at mine, she goes, "Yeah, that's just shit."
Which was really funny for her to say that.
She never says that.
But I do want to, again, huge shout out, because I know a lot of, huge shout out to all of our speakers, because I know technical issues can come up. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge for a lot of people. You know, when they do a video and it's a really big file, and sometimes it's a challenge. How do I get it to you? You know, what are all the options in regards to Google Drives and all of that kind of stuff. But the speakers, just a lot of them put in, well, everyone really put in like a ridiculous amount of effort. And holy cow, some of these videos are amazing.
There's such a great experience that you wouldn't even expect. I mean, they literally are a workshop that you would go and do, you know, in person at somebody's studio or wherever. It's really great. I mean, even, you know, I will say, even we had a last minute speaker, only because her original acceptances went into her junk and she didn't see them. So she reached out to us very last minute and said, I still want to do it. And she did it all. We got it yesterday, and it was amazing. A phenomenal downloadable workbook, a great video. So, you know, big shout out to her as well. So, you know, it is possible. Like if somebody asks us, can we turn something around in a day? We will. Yeah. So, and that's the one thing about this summit. It's going to get you to have a little bit of self-confidence to actually be able to say, yes, I can do it, as opposed to, oh no, that would I'd never be able to kick it out. Yeah, you can. And, you know, that makes you be able to say yes to a lot of opportunities that come your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think just the wide range of how people did their videos, the interpretation of, you know, putting different things together, you know, talking head, experience, outside, inside. Like there's been literally every different way that you can do a video, which is really cool. So,
and so just, we can't say it enough. So many great classes. Yeah. So many great classes. So you still have an opportunity. If you're watching this, you still have an opportunity. You can go grab the replays. You can go to forest17.co. Sign up today. You can still watch day 3, 4, and 5. Is that right? Are we on 3?
Yeah, we're on 3.
3, 4, and 5. So today it's all about self-development, spiritual growth. We have some really cool classes today that I am sure that you've never experienced, that you've never tried for yourself. And what a great opportunity to do it. All free. So just go to that link and grab it before it's too late. They're up for 24 hours. So you want to go ahead and check those classes, because it's not something you want to miss.
Exactly. And we have a lifetime access as well. So if you want to get them for over, because they're worth it. Yeah. Worth it. And I will be completely honest. I haven't been able to sort of sit down and watch them all beginning to end. Obviously I've watched little bits, just because I want to sort of see what they're offering and check out the classes and stuff like that. But when you're running a summit, it's not necessarily as easy to participate.
Yeah, even though we're participating a lot.
and watch all of them. I do see them when I'm uploading them and stuff like that. But it's been an experience. It's been an experience from my side, as well as the speaker side. So, but it's been good. We also decided in the midst of all of this to go down to a concert on Monday night. So we left the forest and we drove down to Toronto to see the Duran Duran concert on Monday night. Now, thank you again. So for me, that was a huge one. Been a huge fan of them when I was like a teenager. Always wanted to see them, and I finally did. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then we drove back.
Yeah, we drove back. That's why we're a little tired. We got back at 2 a.m, and then we had a full day. And we also have 5 teenage boys here that are.
I'm not sure how we decided that would be a good week to overlap those, but.
And they all start university
soon.
This weekend. They have to move in. So it's been a crazy weekend. On top of all that, we have our regular clients. And
there's those.
We have our visibility school is still on. So we're going through that with our students as well. So, I mean, if any of you are sitting there going, I don't want to take one more project on. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Right. And so it's just, you have to figure out how to manage your time. We have a great program that comes out every January. It's a New Year's challenge, and it sets you up for how to manage your time, how to manage your projects and your accountabilities, everything you need. So watch out for that. That comes out every January. I mean, you can still go ahead and do it now, but we'd like to give you a little bit of time to say, next year is going to be different. Next year, I'm going to. Or
maybe September will be in the January.
Maybe, yeah. So we have some things coming out in September that you're going to really enjoy on all of our companies. So 417, you are going to be able to obviously watch the replays if you want of the summit. But we also have some cool, new, exciting things we're going to be launching too, because we have been overwhelmed with the just the amount of interest, let's put it that way, we're getting. People who are signing up, want to be part of 417. They want to be part of the community. They're looking for new techniques and strategies and tools to make their life better. And that's what we're going to give you. So we want you to keep up with that.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
So can I just switch gears for a second?
Okay.
Can I complain about something?
Yeah, I haven't complained in a while, so go ahead.
So it's this thing on social media called audio messages.
Okay.
And a lot of people are using them. And I got to say, for the first time, and I everyone knows I'm usually a big fan of the different features and all. And this isn't new. This has been out for a very long time. I think Facebook Messenger came out with it. Any of the direct messaging apps you can send, click the button, record your message or whatever. It's like voicemail, right? So if you want to, the big joke, right? If you want to get in touch with somebody, text me, whatever, smoke signals are before calling me on the phone and leaving me a voicemail. It's at the bottom. It's literally below smoke signals.
Yeah.
But I'm finding a lot of people all of a sudden in my direct messages, I'll send them a message, a text, I'll send them. And through text, you can also send an audio message.
Yep.
So I'll send them a text, I'll send them a direct message through Instagram or Facebook or however they've decided that they want to communicate. And then I get an audio message back.
Yeah.
And it's like voicemail. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to listen to voicemail.
I know. And I understand why people do it because it's easy.
Well, it's easy, but it's not easy. It's easy to do.
To listen
you can
to
leave it, but to listen to it, because I can scan, which means I can read faster than I can listen.
Yeah.
So it takes time. If they leave me a minute message, I probably could have read it in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe less. So I'm just struggling with the amount of voicemail or direct message audio messages that are out there.
Everything's getting shorter and shorter in time frame. I mean, people are getting lazier and lazier. It's true. I don't mean to say, some people just like the sound of voice and that's why they leave the message, which is great. Good for you. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think, we went from handwritten notes, right, to emails, and then to long voicemails, because it was everybody all of a sudden had voicemail everywhere, right? So me personally, I don't listen to voicemail. I have the text that I have on my phone that it converts the voicemail to text, because I never ever listen
That's
to
what
voicemail.
I need on the social media. That's what they need to come up with, because I have the same thing. So if my Instagram direct message would convert it,
Yeah.
because it's very easy to do, like captions, if it would convert it to text, no problem.
And
Leave
I
me your
think
voicemail.
that's the next thing. And I know people are probably going, oh, there's an app for that. I don't want it an external app.
Yep.
You want it internally into these systems, right? Because it's just like, for those of us who are on CarPlay, we are so now half the time I don't even text somebody back. I go, I'll just wait till I get in my car. And then I'll go, hey, Siri, text this. Oops, I better be careful. Text. I said, text someone. And then I just dictate. And then she sometimes gets it, right. But I guess it's me that she sometimes gets wrong. But anyways.
But that's okay.
But it's true.
It needs to be internal, like you said, in the social media app.
Yeah, it gets faster and faster. And I think that's what it's all about. So I'm sure that Instagram and Facebook will Meta. Are you listening, Meta? We know you are, because every time we say something, you pop up. So
my feed, all of a sudden I'll get a message about Otter.io. But that's where things. But going back to that, so Otter.io.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will record Zoom calls or meetings or whatever, so you can watch the replay.
Yeah.
But Otter.io, which is what I absolutely love, I like that better. So what I'll do is, if I'm on a video call and I want to record it, is I want to make sure I, don't forget anything, or if, with one of our clients asking us to do something or follow up or look at something or whatever the case may be, because one of our clients had a link, I think they sent us yesterday, that they want us to review. All of a sudden, it dictates. So it literally, like, it captions, and you get this document with all of the words. So you can scan through and go, okay, done that. Okay, I've got to do that, whatever. So I can, instead of having to watch the entire video over again. So I think hopefully it's coming.
I think so. There's another
to the world.
There's an app I was on yesterday. I can't remember what it's called. I have to look it up for you guys. But so I didn't want to read this whole article, and I don't know what's it called, but I put it up there, and all it does is pull out
the highlights.
The highlights.
Ooh, I want that.
And so, so you just read the highlighted, and it gives you, and it'll like pull it over to a screen and dump it there, so you can just read the highlights.
Oh, that's cool.
It was, I can't remember what it's called though. Sorry.
But in the opposite front, you can also get, if there's an article, you can get it to dictate to you.
Yes.
For people who just want to kind of listen to the main point. So I think the interesting thing is just the different ways in which people communicate. Right. And to learn what is their ideal way of communicating. Right. So I always hope, so I have a girl who texts me, but she does an audio message. So she did it, but I never respond back with an audio message.
Right.
I always write back, because I hope that will get her to write back.
Yeah.
And she never writes back.
No.
And if you're interested in that, there's also amazing things like Voxer.
Yeah.
Which is an incredible audio message to audio message. And there's a lot of uses for it. And that's great. You can leave a message for me. I'll leave a message for you if that's your thing, not mine.
And I will say, and I think a lot of people who are more interested in voice, I will say that, text has a tendency of not getting the emotion or what you're looking to really say through, right? So sometimes text, you'll misinterpret what the person is saying. And that happens a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So, I find that when you dictate, like if you dictate to Siri, your words will be, you'll dictate longer. So most of that, what you're trying to say will come through. But if you're texting, especially for me, I short form everything, as you know. And so unless you know me, you have no idea what I'm talking. Like you might say, is she mad at me? Because I text like in 3 words. And that's it. Because I just figure you'll get it.
the spy.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, like secret language.
It's true.
You have to interpret what she says.
So, but it is important.
It's just different.
You have to recognize that people do speak and write differently. And just because you like it, I mean, we personally like to have text, but it doesn't mean we're right. It just means that's what we
just
like.
The preference. Absolutely. Yeah. But there's a lot of people, and maybe you're right. Maybe that's why they use the audio messages, which I've never really thought of, is the interpretation piece. Yeah. So you can't misinterpret if you hear me laughing while I'm saying it, or
because Siri doesn't go, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah. Exactly.
She doesn't say, and then she laughed.
She said in a laughing tone.
Yeah.
She doesn't say
that would be okay.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? it's like you need to say the tone in which your
Yeah.
text is going, angry tone, laughing tone, neutral tone.
Yeah.
There has to be a tone to it, because that's always the hard thing. So maybe you're right. Like I said, I never really thought about it from that perspective, that you can hear them. But what I find when people are leaving an audio message is that they brainstorm.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, let me think. No, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe.
Right.
Think about it first, get to the point. No.
Yeah, and you get to the point more when you're obviously texting, and also when you're on CarPlay, because the longer, sometimes you'll leave a big long message and then your connection will cut and then it won't go through, and then the second time you leave it, it's like about 1/4 of the time.
Exactly.
Because you're like, I'm not going to say that all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting. It's also interesting, how people hear and how people communicate is completely different for a lot of people. So if you watch the summit this week, you will see so many different types of communication styles.
Yes,
Right?
very, very much so. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah. So, and you have a tendency to gravitate to the ones that you are like or that you enjoy listening to. So, but what I would caution you is that just because you don't necessarily listen the same way or speak the same way, give it a little bit of time, because their information is really good. And sometimes you'll shut it off, like we do a lot with slow speakers, right? We're not very good with people that speak slow, so we shut it off. And sometimes you're missing really great information. And a lot of people that speak slow, it's because they really are thinking about their words and they want to make sure they're communicating exactly what they want you to know. So sometimes it's way more relevant than someone who talks fast like me. But,
no, I agree 100%. And I know with the summit, I'm sort of slowing myself down, which was the whole point.
Yep.
Right. Is to take a little bit of time. If, no matter where you are in the world, get out in nature, become close with it, and really enjoy the experiences. So slow things down a little bit. So, they might not be talking super fast, but it's interesting because I think in one of your videos that we were working on, we were looking, at just the tone of how you were talking, the speed at which you were talking, because I was also matching some videos to her voice. And then we were also looking at different music clips just to be playing very, very low in the background. Yeah. And it's the speed at which, if you were like, and then we're going to do this next, the speed of the audio.
Away. Well, that's what you have to
taken
know.
away.
That's what you have to know when you're speaking. I mean, I'm doing two completely different things. I teach speaking, I teach business. So I speak very quickly. And then on the other side, I also teach meditation and Buddhism. And our if you log in today on day 3, you'll see my video on Buddhism and nature. And as Stacy said, I did the speaking, the voice, and Stacy did the video. So we matched that together, but my voice is completely different than when I speak in my traditional business setting. And that's on purpose, because I understand the audience, I understand what I'm talking about. So you have to be able to change that up. And that's really, you learn that a lot in speaker training. So if that's something you need to know, you got to check out Gia, because we cover an entire segment on speaking, and guaranteed that if you take that speaking section, you will know how to speak in any situation going forward. So check that out as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, I am on Joe's. I'm getting little beeps here and there on my computer. I was trying to figure out what it was, but that's okay. Yeah. So today, speaking of Gia, today is the last day of the summer school.
Yeah.
You know what? That's been another one this summer. It's been really good to see, again, sort of the two ends of the spectrum. People showing up, they're still working, they're doing the work, they're learning, they're implementing. Which is incredible. And then we've just had people reach out and just say, summer's not the best time for me. Will you be running it again in the fall? Because that's more when the kids go back to school, or, September is the new January, or my schedule will get a little bit back on track because of different summer vacations.
And we will.
And the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. So, we'll plug it a little bit here. It's just because truly, we know that if you go through this 8 weeks, it will completely change your business, even your life, the way you approach things, the way that you communicate with people, the way you present yourself. So it is an experience that I can only say that, you would be amiss to not give yourself the opportunity, because it is really about you. And this summit was about feeling better and getting us, feeling grounded and giving ourselves some self-care and back to being able to feel good. So this is the natural progression, right? So you're feeling good, you understand that, and now you're ready to really push yourself, promote yourself and your business.
Yeah.
And this is the key to get you there.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have asked about speaking, which is a big one, because I feel like, whether you're speaking online or whether you're speaking in person, because a lot of in-person conferences are now coming back.
Yes.
Especially for the fall.
Yeah.
So it's a really great time to kick that into high gear.
Yes.
And a lot of people ask me about podcasts, and podcasts continue to be a huge part of the digital marketing space. So you know what? No time better, I should say, than the fall to kick that up. There's a couple of people again who wanted to launch, but they wanted to wait until the fall. So I'm going to be grabbing them, and they're going to be getting into GIA as well.
Yeah, and some of our students that are in GIA right now will be launching their podcast shortly as well,
which I'm very excited to see. Yeah, and
we might be launching a new one ourselves.
Oh, I heard a rumor about that. Did someone say new podcast? And it was very interesting. Just speaking of that, I know we're kind of going a little bit all over the place, but I got as usual. The other day, I received a message from somebody who's doing a private podcast.
Okay.
And then, so the link is there. So here you have early access to my private podcast. It is going to be something that she will be selling, sort of like a membership concept. So I'm very interested in seeing how that space goes.
Right.
The private, because a lot of now Apple, you can do a private podcast. If you have the link, you can listen, but it's not on their public sort of forum. A lot of people do it behind, like in different sites. They do it, on a specific page where you need to access, because it's audio files and they can go listen to that on the go rather than watching a video. So it's very interesting just to see how that space goes and if people are going to be taking advantage of it from, again, sort of that paid behind the paywall kind of memberships sort of thing, or whether they're going to stick with the complete public, try to get my voice out to as many people. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see which lane.
I guess it depends on your goal, right? Like if it's strictly to monetize it, some of it's getting information out and getting you heard and being able to be seen for the expertise that you have. And on the other hand, it's strictly about monetization. Yeah. So it's really interesting. I saw one last week that the podcast is public, but their group is private. So you pay a membership and you can listen, but after the podcast, they do a live Q&A. And they interact with the community. They have, some extra bonuses every time. So I think the podcast is once a week, and then you pay for this community access. So that's interesting too. I don't know. We haven't seen enough to say, okay, this is the way that seems to make sense. But again, I think everyone's out there as anything in the new world. Everyone's just kind of throwing things everywhere and going, let's see what works. There are some tried and true methods in everything.
Absolutely.
For example, in GIA, Stacy teaches you how to launch a podcast, and from not only what it's about, the information, but also the technical and what to do, and all the costs involved or no cost depending on how you look at it.
Exactly.
So so there's that's always going to be there, but then there's also now the offshoots of, well, what else could I do to change it up? So kind of interesting.
It is, and I think that's with everything, and I think in the whole digital marketing space in general, whether you're talking about online this, online that, is just there's so many options.
Yep.
There's so many options now that there's no excuse not to get yourself online.
Nope.
On that note, we will see you here next week. Things will be a little bit different next week because we're just a little bit crazy with getting our kids into college and university and all of that. So we'll have some very interesting stories, I'm sure, for you next week.
I'm sure we will.